So guys, welcome back. In this video, like I said, we'll be retrieving the users from Firestore and display them in our home page. So before we start, I made some changes, or I registered some new users in our app. So let me show you. So if you go to our app, so you can see I registered 3 users now. We have user 1 with the username of Gabriel. We have user 2 with the username of Jennifer Gold, then user 3 with the username of Sasha Nelly. Then I just filled it and added them. So I'm just going to delete this document because we don't need that. So these are the 3 users we have, and we want to retrieve them and display them in our front end. So if you go to your authentication, you can say these are the 3 users that are authenticated. So now let's go back to our app. Now let's make some few changes. I noticed some things. Let's go to our register page. In our register page, we don't actually need a secure text entry for our avatar URL, so I'm going to take this off. So let's get back to our home page. So in our home page, what we are going to do here is try to retrieve our users from our back end and display them in our home page here. So over here, let's create a function called get users. So constants get users is going to be async. Good. So in here we need to actually get our users from our back end, right? So firstly we need to create a docref. So doc constant docref. Since we are trying to retrieve all the documents in a particular collection, so we need this method from Firebase Firestore called collection. This is going to take in DB, which you need to install for our Firebase config, and it's going to take the name of the actual collections, which is what users. Now we are going to be using query from Firestore because we actually want to query the documents that will be sent to us from Firestore, because we don't actually want the details, or should I say the credentials of the user that is logged in. So just like if you log into a particular page, or in Facebook, if you see your friends list, go to your friends list, you don't actually want to see yourself in that friend list. So we want to query Firebase to give us every other document aside from the particular user that is logged in on that device. So that is why we're going to be using a query. So let's say constants. So constant, let's call this Q. This is going to be equals to a method from Firebase. We'll call on a method from Firebase Firestore query, and query is going to take in our docref as the first instance. I prefer we call this docsref since we are not just retrieving a particular document. So docsref. Docsref. Then as a second argument, what is going to help us retrieve this is going to be where, which is a method query also takes in. So where is going to be, first we're going to say where the what user UID. Now user UID is not equals to what, so we need a comma here. So where the user UID is not equals to what, we need to call on to get the user UID, to get the UID of the user that is presently logged in. So authentication, then we put a question mark to question Firebase if it's actually logged in. Current user, then dot what UID. So this will get us the what UID of the current user that is logged in. So this is just saying that, okay, query Firebase and get all the doc refs where the user UID, and if you are wondering what the user UID is, this is the user UID. So this user UID over here, so where the user UID is not equals to the UID of the user that is presently logged in, so that will get us all other user UID aside the one that is currently logged in. So let's call this constants. Let's call this docs snap, which is going to be equals to, now we're going to call on snapshots from Firebase Firestore, which is going to take in Q as an argument. Then this is going to take in a callback function. Let's just call it on snap. So on snap, now over here let's just create an array which we are going to get all those documents that are coming from. We're going to save them temporarily before we use it to set a local state we will create later. So let's just say let's data equals to this, an empty array at first, then we'll call on snap docs, then dot for each. So for each we want to call this user, then for each we want to actually do it data dot push an object of what let's call it user dot data. Then when we do that, let's create a local state here. Let's call it constant users. Then we'll set users, which is going to be a use state. Be an empty array. So good. Then after we are done, we are going to set users and pass in what data. So this won't actually work because we actually need to call the function. So let's call it in a use effects. So we'll call this function get what users. Let's just console.log user dot what data. So good, we have this. Let me refresh. So nice, we have these two users, so which is what you are actually looking for. So because of the other user that is signed in, we are not getting any of the signed in user details here, just the other two. So that is working fine. So let's head back to our code. So we've set data. Now to display our users, okay, this actually needs to be data dot, okay, yeah, data. So to display our users, I've created a custom component called list item. So it's just normal components, just a custom component that takes in a prop of title, subtitle, image component, and on press I imported material icon. And so I've created a custom component called app text. So if you go here, you can see I just imported platform, style sheet, and text from React Native, then exported the function after it, which takes in input text, styling, all these props. Then it's just the customized text. Then when we go back to our list item, we have a touchable without feedback, which is this underlay color, then on press, and a view that wraps all this, and this styling too. So you can see the stylings. So I'm going to take this slowly so that you can pause and actually style yours just like mine. So let's get back to our home page. So over here, instead of returning a view, we are going to return a flat list that's from React Native. Remember, we're using a flat list, so we need a data. Our data is going to be what? Users. We need a key for each item. So key should just be our, what can we use as our key? So you can use the user email as our key. So we can just say user, you can call it user, then user dot what, email. Now we need a render item prop, which we are going to destructure and take in our item. Then for each, we are going to render a list item. Good. So this list item takes in a title. This title is just going to be our item dot name. So let me just scoot this down. Okay. Okay, good. Item dot name. Then it's going to take in a subtitle, which is going to be item dot email. Then we need an image, which is going to be what? Item dot what? Avatar URL. So let's take a look at this. Okay, we're having some errors. So nice. So you can see this. We are having this list item. Okay, I don't know why our name and email are not showing. Let's go and rectify that. Okay, so this shouldn't be name, this should be username. Email. I think this is correct. So user dot email. Let's go and check this again. Okay, so we have the name, but the email is not showing. Let's see if that's what we called it over here. Okay, we didn't actually save the email here. We didn't actually save the email here, so that is fine. We can actually rectify all this later. So you can see our users are actually now they are now showing in our home page.